Yo, what's poppin' everybody? This is Sabrewolf94 and today I'm going to be reviewing the best cards from Unified Minds. Doing this a little bit earlier instead of waiting for the Cerebi scans. I'm just going to do this through Poke Beach because of the whole thing they did where this set is going to be legal for the World Championship. I think you guys need to get a heads up of the best cards as soon as possible so you can prepare as soon as possible. So, Unified Minds. I never said this before, but I think this might be like the best set of the whole Sun and Moon era. I never said this about any other Sun and Moon set. The whole variety of fantastic cards from almost every type, and just the sheer size too. This set is as big as Lost Thunder, and it's also rich with very good cards and a variety of cards. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go through all of the GXs, just the best cards in general, some of my favorites, and then some cards that might have potential or they make for some interesting cards. So, just about every type has a GX in here, a tag team GX, and some of them have like two. So, start from the beginning, we've got Grass here, and for Grass, the tag team GX in here is Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor GX. This Pokemon is pretty much going to be like another one of those big grass sort of tank Pokemon. There's a lot of healing strategies you can do when you have a grass Pokemon with such high HP. This one is the same with 270 HP. It matches the HP of Venusaur and Celebi GX, so it's got that covered. Same weakness, fire, a big retreat with 3. I think Venusaur, tag team Venusaur and Celebi is 4, so this guy is a little bit better maybe. And it's got 3 attacks. Its first attack, it's completely colorless, I suppose because it shares Alolan Exeggutor, and Alolan Pokemon have like free attacks. You can do Super Grow. You search a deck for a Pokemon that evolves from one of your grass Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon and evolve it. If you evolved into a Stage 1 Pokemon, you may also search your deck for a Stage 2, evolve, yada yada yada. So it essentially lets you evolve your grass Pokemon, or I think they need to have like grass energies or something like that. The translation isn't 100% accurate, but it's not a very, impressive attack. It's just going to help you evolve into Pokemon. It could be decent, I suppose, early if you want to get some other Stage 2 grass Pokemon too. There's one in particular that could help this Pokemon out. We're going to look later. But that's the first attack. Then you can do 150 for 3 Hurricane, 150 damage, and it also heals 30. So basically, between the damage you heal and you deal, it's 180 total. You're going to deal 150 and heal 30 too. So this is a very good attack. It's not double colorless compatible, but it doesn't matter, just 2 grass and 1 colorless. It's still very good. And you're going to dish out high damage and heal, which is something that's very, very important with these grass tank Pokemon. Healing, between all of your other healing strategies that you're going to combine with this Pokemon, it's nice when you attack and you heal too. So, because of this and some of the other cards, this Pokemon does have a little bit of potential when it comes to this whole tanking and healing strategy. And for its tag team GX attack, you've got 3 grass and you're going to do 200. And of course, if you have more of them, in this case, if you have at least 3 extra, in addition to the attack cost, you shuffle all energy attached to each of your opponent's Pokemon into the deck, and you can't use more than one of these, of course. So it's kind of like Palkia's GX's GX attack. You're going to shuffle all of the energies on the field back into the deck that your opponent has. This can't be useful against decks like maybe Zekrom or Fire like Reshiram, where they go through the effort, use the welders, get the fire energies, and then you put them back. But I would say something like Venusaur's GX attack is much better. It does less damage, but the mass healing, I think it would be more useful. If you can pull this off though, with 6 energies and disrupt your opponent that has a lot of energies, it's going to be game breaking, and that's the point of these GX attacks. So, very good grass Pokemon. It's definitely going to be one of the better tank options for grass. Venusaur, he just has a few things going for it, mainly only the GX attack. I think Buzzle, Fermosa and Buzzle, and this guy, they just can do the job better. So definitely a very good GX Pokemon. Then we're going to move all the way down to Fire. And Fire, we just have one Pokemon, just a regular GX, and it's going to be this Heatran GX. So even though this Pokemon looks fly, it's pretty basic, the stuff that it does. 190 HP is good, the 3 retreat is big of course, water weakness is typical. And once during your turn, if this Pokemon was in your bench and became your active Pokemon, you may move any number of fire energies attached to your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So not exactly Tapu Koko GX where you play it down and you can move the energies on him and move him in the active position. It has to sort of switch, so you can't just play him down and get the effect. You have to find a way to switch too. But it's still a very good ability. When you have this sort of ability, it means that you can move a hurt Pokemon out of the way, move the energies onto this guy, and then if you run things like Max Potion or some other healing or Acerola, what have you, then you can save the energies and just deny your opponent of that hurt Pokemon. So it's a nice ability. Unfortunately, the attacks are just sort of just there. It's just very average attacks. You can do 130 for 3. It's just okay, I guess. It's not really anything spectacular. Decent damage. What kind of kills it is the GX attack. It's not really special either. Heat Bomber is going to do 50 damage times the amount of fire energy attached to this Pokemon. It synergizes in a way with the ability, so if you manage to move a bunch of fire Pokemon on this at once, you can use the GX attack and make a big attack, get a big knockout. But I mean, you need basically like 5 energies on this guy to do 250. 200 for 4, 150 for 3. It's not that impressive to waste your GX attack just to do that sort of damage for the energies you're going to spend. I mean, so it just doesn't, it's not really worth it. I guess you can do 50 for 1 super quick, but that's hardly, using your GX attack wisely. So I'm not that impressed. There are situations where this is going to come up and win you the game, but it's just not as easy as to use as something like Tapu Koko Prism. It won't be as easily splashable in fire decks. But I guess Reshiram and other fire GX decks can tech this guy in. Okay, next up we're going to move on to Water. Water gets a lot of good shit. Now, we get 2 GXs for Water, the Tag Team GX of Psyduck and Slowpoke. And this is basically your Misty deck, is what I like to call it. Every set sort of gives us a sort of built-in archetype based on a famous trainer in the Pokemon universe. We had the Cynthia with the Garchomp Cynthia deck and Lucario. And you had Steven's Resolve. You had your Metagross, Claydol. That wasn't so good, but you had that shit. We had like Lysander, some other cards. And right here we have Misty. This Psyduck and Slowpoke, it's going to work with a Misty supporter and some other cards working together. If you look at it on its own, it's not very impressive. It just has 2 attacks, both of them 2 water energy. Toss and Splash basically does 40 damage, and you discard any number of supporter cards into your hand. It's going to do 40 damage times the amount of supporters you discarded. So you need to discard a lot of supporters for this to get one-hit knockouts. You would need to discard like 5 to do 200 damage, and that's pretty difficult. And supporters are also pretty valuable. So far, the best way for us to gather supporters was through Tapu Lele GX, which is going to rotate out. So if you try and use this with this, it's not going to be very efficient. What we do have though is Misty, that this guy is basically going to work together with, if I can find her. But essentially what she does, I think it's just, I think I just seen you somewhere here. All she does is let you grab 3 supporters from your deck to your hand. So there she is, giving us that little cute wink. This is what she does. Search your deck for up to 3 supporter cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So this is supposed to help you fuel your attack, gather your supporters, and discard them for Psyduck to get hopefully one-hit knockouts. And there's another Pokemon, Lapras. Where are you? Man, it's much more difficult doing this for Poke Beach, but there's Lapras too. This Pokemon basically gonna let you recycle Misty's request every turn. Once during your turn before you attack, you can grab Misty from the discard pile and add it back. So they have this little loop combo where you can keep getting the Misty, using Misty to get supporters, and discard them with Psyduck to do high damage. The problem is, you still need, I mean, if you're gonna play Misty to grab supporters, it means you're not really drawing, so you need to have another sort of ability Pokemon down perhaps, so you can draw and keep card advantage and keep your field going, uh, building up your field and what have you. So that's one thing. And, even when you do this, you still need to discard a lot of supporters. So I feel like, Psyduck with that attack is sort of good to get one-hit knockouts on smaller Pokemon, but when it comes to getting knockouts on GXs and Tag Team GXs especially, it's going to be very difficult. Still, it's a little archetype you can try. They always sort of give us these archetypes. We have another one here, but this is the water sort of built-in archetype, you could say. As for Psyduck's GX attack, Slowpoke and Psyduck's GX attack, I think is much better. It relies a lot on luck, but it guarantees a knockout on just about any Pokemon. Basically, what you do is excitement time. You do 10 damage for just 2, but if you have like 6 extra energies, so 7 total, then you flip 10 coins and you're gonna do 100 damage for each heads. So 10 coins, even at your worst, if you just get 3 out of the 10, that's 300 damage. That's enough to knock out Wailord and Magikarp GX. So you're guaranteed a knockout on any Pokemon when you do this. So I feel like this Pokemon is just better to be used as a tech in something like Blastoise from Team Up, where you have a way to build a lot of water energies in play. So maybe you can build a few in this guy and then just go for a big knockout. Your opponent won't be able to respond. If they just need to have a Tag Team GX Pokemon in the active position, and you kind of have this in the back, you sort of check them out of the game, instantly kill them. So its GX attack is very strong. It needs a lot of energies, but it guarantees a knockout. I mean, on average, you're supposed to do 500 damage if you just get 5 heads. So it's quite powerful. Other than that, the HP, it's decent at 250, I guess. Just the 2 retreat cost. Grass weakness, typical too. Nothing else to say. Now, the water Pokemon that I like a lot more when it comes to GXs in here is this Keldeo GX. This Pokemon is all around a perfect card. A perfect card for me is a card that is basically a perfect package through attacks, abilities, stats, and this Pokemon is kind of one of them. Just the regular basic GX, 170 HP, not the most impressive. 2 retreat, grass weakness, just standard stats. But everything else about this Pokemon is perfect. Its main thing is its ability, Holy Heart. It's going to prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, by all GX Pokemon and Pokemon EX. So it's this sort of immunity barrier ability other Pokemon have, but those Pokemon are usually not GXs. Hoopa, Ninetales, basic Pokemon, and Stage 1 respectively. This is actually a GX Pokemon that has this ability. So it makes it very unique. It's going to have high HP. You can do a lot of tricks with it, of course. And its attacks are very good too. Sonic Edge, 110, and it won't be affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. This is pretty big. It means it can ignore, the same sort of barrier ability. Shit, I don't know if you guys can hear it. Motorcycle outside. But with this attack, it can actually ignore, the same ability from other Pokemon that would be immune to it. So that's good. Just ignoring effects can go through a lot of shit. It still hits for weakness, so it's perfect. And it's a fantastic attack to have around. Especially in a toolbox deck like Blastoise. You can just take this Pokemon in once again. Just going to be a great wall Pokemon. Deal high damage. And then we got his GX attack. It's also very good. Resolute Blade GX for 3 energies. 50 damage times the amount of your opponent's basic Pokemon, bench Pokemon. So It's Lycanroc GX's GX attack, which has already proven itself. You need one more energy, but it's still fantastic. It's only a basic Pokemon. So, just borderline perfect. Excellent GX attack, excellent regular attack. The ability is fantastic, of course, making it immune. I see this Pokemon definitely being in water energy acceleration decks. Like, in expanded and standard, this Pokemon is fantastic. So, definitely very good. Moving on to Lightning, we only have one Tag Team GX Pokemon for Lightning, but it's also very good. There's Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. So this Pokemon is essentially Zapdos, the one that does 1 for 80 as long as it moves from the bench in the active position. Just stronger, needing more energies. For 3 lightning energies, you do basically the same attack. If this Pokemon moved from the bench, this attack is going to do 80 more damage and inflict paralysis too. So 160 for 3 and instant paralysis. Incredibly, incredibly powerful. You do this combo, splash it into something like Zekrom, invest your energies onto this guy, and it's really amazing. I mean, you don't even need Zekrom. What am I talking about? You can just build in a deck completely based around this card. You tech in the same cards you would normally use: Electro Powers, Zero Aura, Tabu Koko Prism, the usual stuff for the lightning decks. But instead of Zekrom, you focus on this guy, and you focus on getting an instant paralysis every turn. Your opponent would only be able to use things like Switch so many times, unless they have some sort of board control through something like Dawnwing's Necrozma GX, with like the Ultra of the Moon, which is going to rotate out. They won't be able to break from the paralysis every turn, and this is very powerful. It's got high HP at 260, which is actually stronger than Pikachu and Zekrom. 2 retreat, metal resistance, the typical bottom stats. So, just from this Pokemon is incredibly viable. And then we got its GX attack, which is also kind of solid, I would say. Lightning Ride, 150 for 3, and you switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. And if this Pokemon has at least 2 extra Lightnings, this attack is going to do 100 more. So for 5, you do 250. It won't be very difficult to power this up, to be honest. You can even use Zekrom too. It's definitely strong. That sort of switching effect proved useful on a Pokemon like Golisopod. And this Pokemon is pretty similar. Dishing out high damage, paralyzing, switching, all this good shit. So definitely a very good Pokemon. Another solid option for Lightning decks. They just keep getting better, and they just keep getting more options. Alright, moving on to the next type, we got Psychic. Now Psychic gets 2 GXs, or actually 2 Tag Team GXs, and 2 regular GXs, so they get the most shit. Of course, trademark of the set is this Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX. And of course, they have this sort of a versatile ability. It's called Perfection in this case, but it's essentially Mew's ability in a way, a bit nerfed, but what it does, you're going to be able to use any attacks of Pokemon GX and Pokemon EX on your bench and in your discard pile. And you still need the necessary energies, but you can copy any of those attacks. Now, it's not as broken as Mew in that you can copy any attack from any Pokemon, so it kind of limits its possibilities. There's a deck actually that if this worked with a Pokemon in this set, they would have made a strong combo. But nevertheless, even though you can't copy regular Pokemon, you can still copy GX Pokemon's attacks, and you can copy them from the discard pile too. So you have that sort of extra to balance it out. Now, it just has a GX attack, no regular attacks, but it's understandable because you can copy anything you want with Perfection. So this can be used as a tech in just about any deck, and you just get that psychic coverage, inflict, the psychic weakness. So you can splash this in Zekrom, splash this in fire, metal, just anything, fighting. Typical Mewtwo stuff. The GX attack is also strong. It's actually quite strong if you ask me. Miracle Twin, name of the original Japanese set. You do 200. This Pokemon has at least 1 extra energy. Heal all damage from each of your Pokemon, not just this guy. So, I think it's pretty crazy if you ask me. It's pretty strong, healing all the damage on this guy and all of your Pokemon. You time this ride is basically fuck. I mean, it pretty much reminds me of Garchomp. Garchomp G level X's C level X's, not G level X's ability, power, when it just would heal all Pokemon SP when it got played down. So it's pretty freaking insane. You're only gonna do this once, but time it right, you win the game. Against spreading decks like fucking Weezing, they're never gonna win against you if you use this Pokemon. It's just impossible. You're just gonna heal all the damage. It's just they can't win. They won't be able to win, even with weakness. So definitely Mewtwo and Mew. It's gonna be a Pokemon that's gonna be used in many different decks. This ability is always very versatile, very flexible. It's the whole point. So definitely one of the best cards. Now my favorite from here, because it features 2 of my favorite Pokemon, is this Deoxys and Espeon Tag Team GX. So this Pokemon is more raw power, just attack and do its own thing. 260 HP. Good, not as good as Mewtwo, but still good. Typical weakness and retreat. You can do Psycho Circle. 10 damage, and you're going to do 30 more damage times the number of Psychic Pokemon on your bench. So build your bench up. If you have like 5, this does 160 for 3, straight up. And expanded, it becomes even better when you can use things like Skyfield. So it's going to have its most potential in expanded. But even in standard, I mean, doing like 160 for 3 straight up. And this is compatible with DCE too. So you just slap Psychic DCE, and it just works. It's going to be pretty great. Now that I think about it, I think DCE is going to rotate out. So by the time this is available for the World Championship, you won't be able to use it. But I could be wrong. I think it does rotate out, so you kind of lose that edge. But this is still a strong attack. And for the tag team, for the GX attack, what I meant to say, it's like a super divide, cross divide. You put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like for 3. And if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra, then you put 20 damage. So you can essentially spread around 200 damage. So definitely a game-ending card, a game-ending effect. It's gonna be hard to, accelerate all those energies, but I mean, you can always use this with freaking Malamar. I mean, definitely. Just slap it in just for the Tech GX attack. Just spread 100, spread 200. It's pretty nasty. There's no way to get around it easily. So, a bit disappointing when you can't use the DC. The first attack could be underwhelming. But, it still has potential. GX attack is definitely good. You can definitely build a deck around focusing completely on this card, but I feel like without DC and without Skyfield, it's not as at best potential. There's some certainly better Pokemon, but definitely a tech for the GX attack and Psychic decks. Could be very good. Right. Moving on, we got Latios and Jirachi too. Latios GX, I'm not very impressed by this Pokemon. The best thing about it is that it has free retreat. 170 HP, I guess, with free retreat is okay. But it has a lot of bad things. It has this ability where if you have 4 or less Pokemon in play, it can attack, which is just there to limit it, basically. It doesn't add anything extra, and it's not like it does some broken shit and it needs to be balanced out. Its attack Purge, just does 120, and this Pokemon is going to be immune by just Tag Team Pokemon. So it's not even all of the GX Pokemon, just Tag Team once. So it's not that impressive. Damage is average too. Then its GX attack, it's pretty pathetic too if you ask me. Clear vision. Until the end of the game, your opponent can't use a GX attack. So essentially you waste your GX attack and your turn to attack so that your opponent can't use theirs. So if you do this early, then it's okay, I suppose, because you wouldn't be able to do much anyway. But you waste your GX attack too. So I don't know how I feel about that. And it's just you gotta have the shitty thing is that you won't even be able to do this early because you gotta have a full bench. If you have four or less Pokemon, it can't attack. So it's just very difficult to use. They always do this with my favorite Pokemon. They want to make them useless in a way. So I'm not very impressed, to be honest, by it. It's not even one of the best cards in my opinion, but it's a GX you can pull from this set, so something, I guess. Maybe people will find a way to make it work, but it's difficult. It's definitely difficult. Why would you do this when you can use like Keldeo and some other Pokemon even? Anyway, next up we got Jirachi. This Pokemon it has a lot of I guess you could say average things. Just 160 HP. The GX attack isn't very impressive. Star Shield, just 100 damage. And it's going to prevent all effects and damage done to this Pokemon. People can play around it easily, but also 3 for 100 isn't very good. The reason you're going to use this Pokemon is for its ability, Psychic Zone. As long as this Pokemon is out, your Psychic Pokemon don't have any weakness. Pokemon with a Psychic weakness, actually, not just Psychic Pokemon, are weak to Psychic. Or I think with a Psychic weakness, yeah, they don't have it. So this can even be used in Fighting decks, I think. Fighting Pokemon that are weak to Psychic. I think that's how it works. It's in Japanese. You gotta rely on the Pokebeach translation here. But it essentially removes the Psychic weakness, eliminates it. And this is very handy, of course, having it around. And its first attack, we didn't talk about it, just one Psychic. Search your deck for an energy attached to one of your Psychic Pokemon, shuffle your deck. Not very impressive. You don't want to have this guy in the active position. It's gonna end up badly for you. You want him on the bench so you can eliminate your Psychic weakness. And that's gonna be good. It's good because of that. Alright, moving on to, I think we got like Fighting or Darkness next. Let's see, yeah, we got Fighting. For Fighting, we just have Aerodactyl GX, looking pretty cool here. Fossil GX Pokemon, haven't seen like a special Fossil card since I think the Fossil EXs in Black and White and X and Y were unimpressive. Through the EX era, they were better, like the original EX Fossil cards. Anyway, this guy is pretty solid, just because of the ability. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, the attacks of your opponent's basic Pokemon cost 1 colorless more. So this isn't going to necessarily stop Zekrom, because it needs all lightning to work. But other Pokemon, it's going to slow them down. It's pretty handy. It's a very nice ability to have. It's going to work on just any basic Pokemon, not just GXs. Just any basic Pokemon, they're going to be slowed down with this if they use colorless attacks in their energy cost. 120 for 3, standard. It could have been a lot better, but whatever. I guess you can boost it with the Antsy. And then we have its GX attack. This one is 50 damage times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. I guess it can be good against lightning Pokemon. If they just have like 3 energies on, you can easily kill Zekrom with this, just 1 fighting energy. If it has 3 energies, it dies instantly. So it's nice. It's a cheap attack, which is something that I like. Your opponent will need to have like at least 3 energies on for this to be useful. But I mean, even if they have like 2, you're doing 100 for 1. You spend your GX attack, but it's just 1 energy. Fairy Retreat is great. 210 HP is kind of nice. It's a fossil Pokemon, so it's going to be harder to get out, but it's got some good shit. It doesn't necessarily work with the team-up Aerodactyl, because you're going to lose that guy's good effect. But it's nice. It's a very good fighting Pokemon, I would say. There's some good fighting support, too, here. Help it out. Okay, moving on. Next type. We got Darkness. 2 Darkness Pokemon GXs. You got Darkrai and Umbreon. Very cool. 270 HP, typical bottom stats. This one can do 150 for 3 and then 60 damage on an opponent's benched GX Pokemon or EX Pokemon. So it's very high damage total for 3 energies, 210, 50 to the active, and 60 on the bench. Mew with Bench Barrier gets around this, but it's a strong attack. Just pretty simple. And then its GX attack, Dead Moon. Your opponent can't play any trainer cards, and if this Pokemon has at least 5 extra darkness energies, your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out too. So crazy, instant knockout and trainer lock. It's going to be hard, of course, but there's ways to make this work, especially in expanded. So Darkness also getting another very good Pokemon they could utilize. And then Mega Sableye with Tyranitar. This is the first sort of Mega Pokemon featured on Attack Team GX, I think. This Pokemon is, as you guys can see, 5 energies is a lot. It's going to take a miracle for you to make it work, but I guess you can use Sharpedo. We have some options in Standard. You can try it out. Since it's just a basic, at least you don't have to worry about evolving into it. You can do 210 damage, and if your opponent's active Pokemon is a GX or EX and is knocked out, you take one more prize card. So it's going to instantly take care of stage 1 GXs, and you're going to get an additional prize. So it definitely hurts them. And the GX attack, 250. If you have 5 additional, like 10 energy cards basically, you mill 15 cards of your opponent's deck. So just incredibly high risk, high reward. It's just all I can say. Big ass retreat. HP is pretty high though at 280. So I'm gonna use it if I get it, just for fun. But it's definitely, Pokemon that need a lot of energies are difficult to use always. Okay, next up we got Weavile in here. I forgot about you. Just a regular GX. The good thing about this Pokemon is its ability. With Shadow Connection, you can move darkness energies around basically like Aromatisse. Just move them around as you like. It's very good. Another partner darkness Pokemon they can use. You can use this to conserve energies, move energies, a lot of combos. 130 for 3, and its GX attack. Search your deck for any basic Pokemon, put them on your bench. That's it. Just one colorless. So I guess if you get Sneasel, open with Sneasel, and get this like early, you have Weavile, but you don't have much else going on. You can use your GX attack and fill your bench. Just get the setup that way. Spend your GX attack for setup. It's not bad, I guess, in certain emergency situations. Alright, moving on. Fuck. Some fucking truck outside or whatever. Anyways, we got metal Pokemon. Now, there's not a lot of metal Pokemon, just 2, and one of them is a GX. It's this Molly here. So, typical stats, 170 HP, 1 retreat, psychic resistance. What it does is when you play it from the hand into the bench, you will have your opponent reveal their hand, and any basic Pokemon they have, they gotta play them down, which synergizes with its attack, Hustle Bite. You do 10 damage and 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So with a full bench, you can do like what, 160 for 2. It's decent. Even if you do like, let's see, 130 or like 100 for 2, it's still kind of decent. So not bad. And its GX attack, it's very strong too. Your opponent reveals their hand, discard all supporters you find there. So if you do this at the right time, leave your opponent without a supporter, it's pretty nasty. They did a good thing making this work with 2 energies, not just 1, because then it would have been crazy. Right. Fairies don't get anything, unfortunately. They just get 3 cards, basically. Nothing else, no GX. And then for dragons, we got Garchomp and Giratina GX. This Pokemon might have like the biggest potential when it comes to Tag Team GXs. I guess besides maybe Mewtwo and Raichu, but it's very powerful because it can start early doing 40 damage. This can be a snipe too, which is very useful. And then For a psychic fighting and a colorless, you can do 160. It's already strong. And if you hit a Pokemon that has already any damage counters on it, this attack does 240 for 3. So it's very, very powerful. You can use this with Malamar very, very easily. You can start attacking immediately with it, then get a few energies on it, and start doing 240. Everybody's gonna die. I mean, you're already softening enough Pokemon with 40, so not even Tactine GX Pokemon will survive. And you don't even need any additional add-ons. And its GX attack, GG End, is the name of the Japanese mini set this card originally comes from. Discard one of your opponent's Pokemon and all cards attached to them. That's it, you don't get a prize, and if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra energies attached to it, discard 2 of your opponent's Pokemon and all cards attached to them. So this is not going to give you prizes, but I mean, I guess it's still massive disruption, getting rid of your opponent's Pokemon. I wouldn't honestly use it. In certain situations, I guess it could come up when you know that if you do this, you seal the game in your victory. But the best thing is the regular attacks, to be honest. Weakness to Fairy, high HP. Garchomp, Giratina, a lot of potential in my opinion. And it's even better in Expanded where you can use double Dragon Energy. Okay. And then we have Dragonite 2. Dragonite, just a regular Stage 2 GX. This Pokemon needs a lot of energy to work, but it's going to get one-hit knockouts too. Sky Judgment is 270 for 5 energies, but it's going to do 270. I already said that. Man, just need to catch my breath and shit, but get one-hit knockouts once again. 270, take care of a lot of Pokemon. It works perfectly with the triple acceleration energy too. You need to discard 3 energy, but it doesn't matter because when you use triple acceleration, you discard anyway. So just perfect made for each other. Like in Expanded, you slap a DC, then slap the other one. You can get one-hit knockouts like that. Strong. Stage 2, it does have some shortcomings, but, just because of this attack, it does have a little bit of potential. Dragon Claw, 130 for 3, is not that good, especially because it requires water and lightning. I mean, this Pokemon that can do, like, Darkrai GX does 130, is just a basic, and it ignores resistance too. So, it's a shitty attack in that regard. And its GX attack, Mac Delivery, draw cards from your deck until you have 10 cards in your hand. You may discard as many cards before drawing, just a draw attack. When you're a Stage 2, you probably don't want to do it at that point. You want to be attacking. So yeah. And I believe, we just have one more. Nakanatal GX. What do you have? This guy, from what I remember, I think is also kind of good. You can do... What's his ability? Once during turn before you attack, you may discard an Ultra Beast card from your hand. And... oh shit, I can't see it. Draw 3 cards. So yeah, pretty good. It's draw power. Stronger than even Zoroark. You gotta discard an Ultra Beast card, but you draw 3. That's pretty powerful. And with their stadium, you can easily add like Ultra Beasts from your deck to your hand. So pretty nice, you gotta admit that. And it's got Venom Shot. You discard 2 energies, and it's gonna do 170. But this is a snipe any Pokemon. And it doesn't matter because you can use like the triple acceleration energy once again. So a Psychic, triple, and you get like a 170 snipe. Pretty strong, man. I seeing even more play because it's just going to be able to stop so many threats. Otherwise, this Pokemon is very threatening. And then GX stack, you need a lightning energy for some reason. You can do Injection GX, choose 1 card from your opponent's discard pile, show it to your opponent, and then put it face down as one of your opponent's prize cards. Okay, so it's prize card manipulation, and I guess you can get a card from the discard pile so they can't get it back. Whatever. I guess it's decent if you can slow them down. But the best things are definitely the attack and the regular attack and its ability. Definitely very good. Right. So I think these are all the GXs. I've already spent enough time on them. But we have some other very good Pokemon too, and I'm going to cover them from every type. Now, grass, we don't have much, but we do have a few things. The first card that's important in my mind, at least, it's these. Where the fuck are you? Where are you? Tsarina. This is a stage 2 Pokemon, but it basically shares Blaziken's Far Starter ability, Energy Acceleration from the discard pile. You can grab a grass and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. So it's pretty good. It's another thing that I guess tank grass decks can utilize if they want to. Build their energies on them that way. It actually says on the active Pokemon as opposed to the bench one. So, interesting. That's actually quite good. It's better than getting another bench. So I guess it has that going for it compared to Blaziken. So that's one very good Pokemon from this set. Then we have this Lurantis too, which is decent, another decent card. For those of you that like spread, this is another option for you with Petal Blizzard. Does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Tabu Koko is going to rotate out, so this just does 10 damage to every one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's a stage 1, but you only need 1 energy. And it's Soul Slash attack, 1 for 50. It's decent. It needs a Fire Energy to do 50 more, do 100 for 2. It's a bit weird, but I guess it's there. Its main attack should be like the first attack, I guess. And then we have the... I guess I'm going to talk about the Spore Pokemon too. We have like the Spore archetype too. You get these Among Us once during your turn. When you play a Pokemon that has a Spore attack, play it on the bench. Your opponent's Pokemon is asleep and poisoned. So you can do that shit. And you've got Breloom. I believe it should be a fighting Pokemon. We're going to look at it later. But you have this sort of archetype with Spore Pokemon. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. And then the last Pokemon, it's not that good, but I guess you can use it with tanks. This Leavanny, it has a lot of things I don't like. A bad attack, low HP. But, you know, the ability is strong. You gotta admit that. It's gonna block 40 damage from your opponent if they attack like a grass Pokemon. Or I think, yeah, your grass Pokemon take 40 damage less. So it's going to work perfectly in those tank grass decks that I was talking about. You get this out, you only need 1. It just makes things like Venusaur and Rowlet and Exeggutor from this set that much harder to KO. And then you heal them on top of that. And, you know, since even though it's a stage 2, apparently, you know, Rowlet and Exeggutor can help you get him out quick with his attack. So, something, I guess, synergy. And then last but not least, you know what, I'm actually going to cover that in the end. But we have a lot of good text in here for coverage. But these are the grass Pokemon. And I guess we have Celebi too. You can devolve Pokemon. I'm not that impressed by these attacks anymore. Right. Then we have Fire. Yeah, I think there's nothing else for grass. For fire, we have this. Where are you? Chandelure. This is a decent Pokemon, stage 2. It does 10 damage, and you discard the top 5 cards of your deck. It's going to do 60 more for each Pokemon you discarded, then put any number of discarded fire Pokemon onto your bench. So this is pretty cool because you can instantly set up some Pokemon with this too. It doesn't say you only put basic Pokemon, so you can like get other Chandelures, play them down. So this can be pretty sweet. And you build up your army quickly while doing high damage. So that's interesting. Another interesting stage 2 fire Pokemon is this Talonflame. I kind of like it. You can start doing 40 for 1 and burn. Free retreat 130 HP. And start doing 40. And then it will fill up Brits. You do 100 for 2. Discard energy. And then do 50 to an opponent's bench Pokemon. So once again, Mew coming into play here. but high damage, cheap Pokemon to use, easy to use. You know, could be interesting if you want to try out a Stage 2 deck. Then we got water. We have a few big things in for water, namely this Cryogonal here. This Pokemon is essentially Seismitoad EX. It's going to do 10 for 1 water energy, but it gives you the item lock too. Your opponent won't be able to play any items. So it's very strong. You best believe this card is going to see play. It's only a basic 2, so it has less risk than something like Seismitoad. Less HP too, but it doesn't matter. It's only going to give 1 prize. Metal Weakness, just 1 retreat. It does much better retreat-wise than Seismitoad too. So all in all, I think it just has a lot more shit going for it. Just need 1 water energy, don't even need DCE, so I feel like it's very consistent, very simple to use. You can just use this, do all sorts of tactics. You know, slow your opponent down while you build some other Pokemon in the back. Very strong. You best believe it's going to see play. It's one of the best cards in this set for sure. Like, I might even deem this like the best card in this set when it comes to Pokemon, but maybe that's a bit far-fetched. Okay, next up we got Golisopod. This also might be a solid card, one of the better cards. It basically, as long as you have 2 or less energy, it has free retreat, and its attack always discards. You're gonna use the triple acceleration energy and discard it, so it's always gonna have free retreat after its attacks. You do 120 for 4. If you move from the bench, become active, it does 180 for 4. So it's kind of like Golisopod GX, only this is just a stage 1. Could be solid since it works with triple energy acceleration. You can try it out. Switch, do high damage. Keep repeating that. Right. For lightning Pokemon, we get a lot of good shit here too. Oh my god, lightning Pokemon, they just have a lot of shit. This Electros. I'm going to talk about the others later. So this Electros is not quite Tapu Koko, like I mentioned with Heatran, but it does similar shit. When you have 4 lightning energies in play, you can play this Pokemon down instantly on your bench, even though it's a stage 2. Then you can move all of as many lightning energies as you want on this Pokemon. Now, it's not going to get in the active position, but, you know, you still do that sort of combo. Save the energies from other hurt Pokemon, put it onto this guy, and have a good 150 HP, only 1 prize given Pokemon out. Its attack does 130 for 4. It's not that impressive, but it's going to prevent your opponent's Pokemon from retreating. So the best use for this Pokemon I can think of, if people even use this in Lightning decks, is playing this down at the right time. Once you feel like your opponent has a Pokemon that you could get stuck there, and just do that. Do 130 and get it stuck. It's not going to be stuck for very long because you can inflict high damage. I mean, it better be like a big Pokemon that can take like at least 2 hits. Otherwise, then the retreating effect doesn't matter anyway. But it just seems like it has a bunch of good things, but then a bunch of facepalm things at the same time. So I don't know if it's going to be very good. I feel like it might not see play, but the ability definitely does have potential. So I gotta mention it. Okay. Next up we got... I'm gonna save the... You know what? I'm gonna save the text for later. There's some good sort of text. You know what? Why not? Let's just get over them. We got Tapu Koko here. It's an Ultra Beast hater. 130 is solid. Then you do 100 for 3. If your opponent has an Ultra Beast, you do 200. And then you discard 2. Get 1 hit knockouts. Very, very strong. Stats are excellent too. Very good. There's Tapu Fini 2 in here. I passed over it. I was going to talk about it later, but let's talk about it now. This Pokemon is also an Ultra Beast hater. Solid stats once again. You can do 1 for 20, a bit weaker. It's kind of unfair. For 3 water energy, you do 100. If your opponent has an Ultra Beast, you can do this for just 1 colorless. So 100 for 1 is very powerful. This card single-handedly is going to destroy Blaze-Philon GX, because any deck can tech this out. You just slap an energy, doesn't even have to be water, and you can do 200, and then you kill it. So because of this card, I feel like Blaze-Philon GX and Blaze-Philon decks, just any Ultra Beast Fire Pokemon, are just completely devastated. This card just completely destroys them. So, yeah, that's it. RIP and Blaze-Philon, I suppose. You can still run the deck, but if your opponent uses this card, it's a major disadvantage for you. Right. Let's keep going. We got Psychic Pokemon left. What do we have for Psychic Pokemon? We have this Jinx. This one I think is better in Expanded because you can use it with Cresselia EX. Essentially, once during your turn, you may move a damage counter from your one of Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. So you can take a damage from a hurt Pokemon, your main attacker, put it on something else, and then pile up the damage and then use Max Potion. In Expanded, like I said, it's better because you can use Cresselia EX with this combo. I think this might have some more uses in Standard, but we'll have to wait and see. Nothing comes to mind. Okay. Next up, a big Pokemon we have, in my opinion, is it's a trilogy, is these Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, right here. Now, these guys are big because if you have all 3 of them down, Uxie's Secret Territory makes the weakness of all Pokemon in play times 4. So, because of this, and because of the numerous tech Pokemon in here, it's completely possible to just get easy knockouts on just about any Pokemon. So when you have a weakness times 4, all you gotta do is just do like 60 damage, and you can just kill Zekrom in 1 hit. Just do 60 damage with something like Buzzwole, okay? And you can instantly get like a 1-hit knockout on Attack Team GX Pokemon. And this just goes for any Pokemon. Just gonna have times 4 weakness. It makes Attack Team GX Pokemon very risky now, if your opponent runs the right deck. Like, I can just use Duck Trio and just use this and just kill Zekrom easily. So it's crazy. Some other Pokemon too in here that can make use of that. Giratina is another one. When you play this down, you can discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. That's it. The attack isn't very impressive, but the stats are good for a big Pokemon. Fight resistance, 1 retreat, 130. Moving on. We have this Behem, however you pronounce it. This Pokemon has a lot of potential because it's pretty much like almost exactly the same as Dark Explorer's Excelgor. For 3 energy, you do 90 damage, and then you shuffle this Pokemon back in. Your opponent won't be able to play any item cards. So you can do a lot of rat combos, especially in Expanded with this. In Standard, I'm not quite sure which is the best method to use it, but you can definitely just slap the triple acceleration, do 90, go back in the deck, promote like a wall Pokemon or something, then retreat, rinse and repeat. Now, this is the Pokemon that I mentioned that would have been a very good partner with Mewtwo and Mew Attack Team GX if that perfection ability worked on it, but it doesn't, so it's kind of a missed opportunity. Maybe it would have been too broken, I don't know. But it would have been an excellent Pokemon to copy, actually. Pretty much just like the Excelgor back in the day. So this Pokemon, I'm not quite sure what the best partners are, but you better be ready for it. It has a lot of potential with this attack. Just get back in the deck, do decent damage, and get the item lock. It's powerful. Powerful combos. Alright, moving on. We have Some very good fighting Pokemon in here. Not Onyx, not you for sure. This Breloom that I mentioned before, it's part of the Spore deck. You can put your opponent to sleep and then sleep strike. If your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep, you do 120. There's a stadium that makes it so that your opponent, if it's asleep, they gotta flip 2 coins. So that's the whole strategy. You use this stage 1 Pokemon and you do high damage for 1 energy. Little archetype deck. Metachamp is decent. Could do 40 for 1 in any way you like. And then Master's Blow. If you got the black belt on, this does 120 for 2. And you get the benefit of black belt too. So it's pretty nice. Garchomp is another good stage 2 from this set. This Pokemon, man, you can actually really just build a Garchomp deck, run this guy, run the Azelf, Uxie, Mesprit, trio, and even without any of the benefits of this guy's attack and ability, just by doing 80, you can get a one-hit knockout on any Attack Team Lightning GX Pokemon. Any one of them, even Raichu. So, fucking, it's strong. Definitely strong. And, man, you don't even need Diancie. But, on its own, even if you don't factor those guys in for weakness, this Pokemon is a good, stage 2. 150 for retreat. Doing 80 for 2 with the option to do 120. And with its ability, you can do 160 if you're losing prizes. That's not even factoring in Diancie. Then we got Lucario. This Pokemon has a nice ability. There's a bunch of support Pokemon for Tag Team Pokemon too. This one, as long as it's out, your Tag Team Pokemon take 20 less damage. I mean, even with this, it's not going to save them, but it's something, I guess. What else do we have? Need to talk about the best Pokemon. Zygarde is definitely one of them. Zygarde, as long as this guy's on your bench, you can do 20 more damage, and this stacks. So you have a few of these on the bench. Zygarde becomes very, very strong. And this guy's first attack, you do 20 for 1, and you grab an energy, fighting energy, attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. So it's an excellent little attacking package. And you can also use this guy's ability on himself. So if you just have like 3 or 4 of these down, he is going to get the benefit from the other ones on the bench. So you do high damage, grab energies too. Very good. We got, let's see. Going down. Leopard, that's definitely a very good Pokemon. With Shadow Nail, this Pokemon basically, once it attacks, it's going to be immune to your opponent's basic Pokemon. So, strong ability. First attack is good too, doing 40. So, you attack with this, basic Pokemon can't touch this Pokemon. You're immune to them. Let's go down here. We don't have much of else. I mean, Whimsicott is good though. When you evolve into this Pokemon, you can grab any card from your deck and put it into your hand. So it's very good. It's a stage 1, but if Alolan Ninetales GX, the fairy one, had proven to be useful so much, then this is definitely going to be very useful too. Just evolve into this, grab any card. It's very strong. Very good support Pokemon. Go down to the dragons. Once during your turn. This regular Dragonite, I guess you can use it with the other Dragonite GX. You can essentially, once during your turn, attach a water and a lightning energy from your hand to your Pokemon any way you like. So it's double energy acceleration for 2 different types. So I guess you can use it to power this Pokemon up, power up other Pokemon. It's something with potential. It would have been good if we had like Professor Letters. You can get those energies easily. I guess we do have Energy Spinner, but it's less efficient. But it's definitely a very strong ability. What else do we have? This set is just so damn big. Noivern, it's another spreading Pokemon. For 1 energy, you do 20 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is even better than the Lurantis. If you want to pair this with Wheezing for spread. Just the stage 1, 20 to everybody. Going down, going down. Tag team. Let's look at. Let's see here. I don't think Tor is very good. There's a Slack in here with some potential. Where are you? There he is. If it's damaged by an attack, you put 4 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. You can do some combos with the Time Bomb in here. Anyways, I think I'm just rambling on at this point. So let's just go to the trainers. I don't think... just go to the trainers, then talk about some tech Pokemon. And wrap this up, because this is getting long. But I don't have no choice. There's a lot of great cards in here. So we got Blizzard Town. Each Pokemon in play with 4 less HP can attack. So you play this at the right time, you're gonna get your sort of opponent stuck. So each Pokemon in play with 4 less remaining HP can attack. So if you hurt them and you play this down, you know they're almost dead. They can't even attack. So Broken Stadium. And we got Blue's Tactics. When this turn is over, draw until you have 8 is not very good. I don't like the supporter very much. Bug Catcher. This guy's just a coin flip. Draw 2. Flip a coin, if hits you draw 2 more. Not that good. Channeler. This is a very good supporter. Remove all effects of attacks on you and your Pokemon. We've seen this before in Pokemon Ranger. Remove effects of attacks is powerful. So you can get rid of a lot of annoying and nasty effects with this. Cherish Ball. This is a very significant card. One of the best cards in here. Search your deck for a Pokemon GX. Put it into your hand. So instant GX Pokemon Searcher. Evolution, Basic, anything. Very, very fly. Coach Trainer. Draw 2 cards of your opponent's active. If your active Pokemon is a tag team, you draw 2 more cards. So in decks where you run tag teams and they're your main Pokemon, you have them active most of the time. Just straight draw 4 is good. This might be even more efficient than Erica, I would say, because you don't have to worry about the bad side effect. Dark City. All Darkness Basic Pokemon in play basically have no retreat cost. So very good. This is almost like Sky Arrow Bridge for Darkness Pokemon. Get that free retreat on them. Yep. Then, what else do we have? Giant Hearth. Discard a card every turn. Get fire energies from your deck to your hand. Get 2 of them every turn. Very, very good. Great Potion. I don't like this card. Heal 50 damage from your active Pokemon GX. Those tank grass Pokemon, I think they're going to be very powerful. They just get even more options. Then you got Hapu. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Put 2 of them into your hand. And then discard the rest. This is basically the... I forgot what it was called in the Undaunted set. The monk guy, basically. I don't remember his name, but instead of, revealing 5, you reveal 6 with this. Get 2, and then you discard the rest. Okay. Then you got the Black Belt, Karate Belt, it's called here. If you have more prize cards, then the attacks of Pokemon cost 1, fighting less, so can be useful. Misty, we already talked about her. Then we got Pokemaniac. This one is definitely one of the best. You can use this guy and get 3 Pokemon from your deck to your hand as long as they have 4 retreat cost. This works with evolution Pokemon and basic Pokemon, so it's going to be very good for certain decks. Oh man, I'm so dead. We have a few other things. There's the Slumbering Forest. This is the card that's going to work with the Spore Pokemon. A sleep Pokemon flip 2 coins as opposed to 1. So that's what you do. Tack switch. This is like a double energy switch for Tack Team. So more support for Zekrom. U-turn board. What does this do? The retreat cost for Pokemon this card is attached to is colorless less. This will go to this pile, put it into your hand instead. So this is like it's almost like a better. It's a better escape board. Yeah, it won't be very good for Jirachi because you want to have that immunity to sleep, so you can still retreat even if you still fall asleep, stay asleep. But for just about everything else, this is just much better because when you lose it, you can grab it back. If your opponent uses something like Field Blower, you can grab it back. I think that's what the effect is. Yeah, if you go to the discard pile from the field, you get it back. Recycle Energy, this is a crazy good. Reprinted from Neo Genesis. It's been quite a while. We haven't seen this card since then. If this card goes from the field to the discard pile, you grab it back. So just a lot of potential for broken shit with this too. Then we got Weakness Guard Energy. A Pokemon this card is attached to has no weakness, and it's going to be very significant with all the text in here. So I think this is all the set. The rest is just full art shit. But I want to quickly talk about a lot of the good, just decent Pokemon that make for counter Pokemon. So for grass, we have this Yamega. Just slap the triple acceleration and you can do 100 for 2 discard energy. But with the weakness, you can do 200. So just a 1 energy attack. I mean, Dugong has proven very useful. So I feel like these other triple acceleration Pokemon might have potential too. So I hate Yamamega, but its attack can be useful. So this one for grass. Then we have some other Pokemon too that can do these things. Let's find you. For fire, we have this Camerupt. This one, you attach a fire energy and then you put the triple acceleration. You do 150. It's going to take care of any Pokemon that's weak to fire in one hit. I mean, even Melmetal, unless they do like just millions of those tanking strategies, they block damage through billions of ways. This guy's going to do 300 damage with weakness. So you can use this guy to hit for weakness. Then we have, wait a minute, yeah, let's just, with this Victini, search your deck for 2 far basic energies for different types of attention bench Pokemon anywhere, like, yeah, so I can't forget about this Pokemon. Mass energy acceleration from the deck, and get 2 basic energies with they gotta be different types, but man, you grab 2 energies from the deck, can't go wrong with that. But we have a few other good tech Pokemon that do these things. I talked about the shit. Where are you? I talked about Tapu Fini, but we have a few other ones for various types. For example, lightning, we have this Galvantula. Shitty art, zoom in so much on Galvantula, but this attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It can work with any energy once again, and you apply weakness and resistance. So you can use this to hit lightning weak Pokemon if you want to. Pretty good, even use Electro Powers with it. So another counter Pokemon. Next up, we have the Xurkitree 2. This Pokemon is very, very good in Lightning decks as a tech. Just you can do if your opponent has exactly 3 prizes, it does 120 for 1. Works like Buzzwole essentially. And Signal Beam 50 for 2, and then Instant Confusion. Man, if Thunder Mountain is down, then you can do 1 for 50 with this in Confusion. It's very handy. Just a very good Pokemon. I see this being used in Lightning decks. And we got Man, we have a bunch of other Pokemon, but I think I might just wrap this up. Oh god, I'm so tired. I need to figure out a way to make these videos more efficiently, but these set reviews, it's just when you have too many good Pokemon and too many cards in a set, there's just no way to get around it. I think the fighting Pokemon, I covered everybody. Darkness Pokemon. Honchkrow I think might be decent too. You can do one for 60 with this. So this means that if you use this with the Uxie trio, once again, you can like do instantly kill Gengar with this Tag Team Gengar GX with just one energy. And I think that's it. There's a bunch of other Pokemon, but at this point I'm just rambling. I think I covered the best ones. So essentially what this set brings us is a lot of good triple acceleration energy techs and just weakness Pokemon, counter Pokemon for weakness techs. We got Yamamega for grass, Camerupt, Galvantula, there's a bunch of other ones. A few spreading Pokemon. Then you got a lot of Tag Team GX Pokemon with a lot of potential. Just a lot of immune Pokemon to shit, like Keldeo, Leopard, and you got Locke, Creogonal, and Behem, however you pronounce it. More good lightning support, like they need any more of that. And just a lot of shit. So I think this should be the video, guys. It should give you an idea of the best cards from the set. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys subscribe. Leave a like. Share this video with your friends. Remember, this set will be legal for the World Championship, so look out for the tactics introduced in this set. I'm going to do like a best decks from this set too, just to be more concise. But this should be the best cards from the set. Like the cards you want to look out for, want to try out, keep in mind, do combos with. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, I gotta wrap this video up and get like a grass water to drink. Saber 94, and we'll say